this panel, we would like to start by introducing our wonderful participants. Let them say a few words about themselves. Good afternoon. Good afternoon. My name is Snezhana. I'm a managing partner of a finance company. We work with startups and venture companies and consulting companies. And we work primarily in the European Union. This is our major market. It's a couple of countries in the European Union. My name is Valerie Kuzmenko. I have been in the IT sector for 7 years. Before that, I worked in the telecom. And now I have my own consulting company, and we deal with management consulting in IT, building efficiency processes in business processes, building sales, marketing within IT companies, product and IT outsourcing. Also this year, we have launched representative offices, accelerator of Baltic Sandbox in Ukraine. Last year, I went to Angel Investors School, and in September we're launching the new School of Angel Investors, and we will be talking about this in more detail during this panel discussion.
So I'm a co-founder of HOROS.AI startup. We create innovations for agtech industry, and also I have background in mentorship for Ukrainian initiative STEM is FEM. This is beautiful experience, very inspiring, and I'm a winner of female leadership program in 2020. So I'm excited to talk about our experience.
Hello. Oh gosh, okay. Hello everybody, my name is Victoria and I'm representing SMOK Ventures. We are the syndicate of Bregel Brothers, 1 billion under the management, 11 unicorns, and now we are rolling into the Ukrainian market. So yeah, I'm the investor, cheers, hire, whatever. And I'm very thankful to you, Kateryna, for starting speaking English because that's helpful. Thank you.
Yeah, and a couple of words about me. For those who don't know me, my name is Sandra. I'm the CEO and co-founder of Baltic Sandbox Accelerator. We are based in, Lithuania, Germany, Switzerland, all over Europe, basically. And I'm not quite sure where we're based at the moment because it's Corona and everyone is based where they want to be. Additionally to this, we are really passionate about female founders and women in tech. We were running several women in tech acceleration programs. We are planning probably to run one in Ukraine. And also, Valerie mentioned this Business Angel School. We were running a very special edition of Business Angel School, Women Investing in Tech. And we have more than 50, I guess, already, female alumni from this program, which we're really, really proud of. So my first question, we are talking we're going to talk about women in tech, obviously, here today. And we probably have all seen the statistics of the money invested in the startups by the end of 2020. 1% went to the female founders, 17% went to the mixed teams, and 82%, if I'm not mistaken, if I still can calculate, went to all male teams. The question is, 2020 was the year when most of the investors actually invested money online. Why the situation, from your opinion, why the situation is still like this? I mean, why the female founders and the mixed teams are still having less opportunities than all male white 35-ish guys, as of startup founders? Snezhana.
Вы знаете, я думаю, что
You know, the problem is, of course, it's arguable. When the pandemic hit, what started? Lockdowns began, all of the kindergartens and schools closed down. And I remember myself very clearly at that point, because at that time I was staying in Cyprus and everything closed down. I couldn't go out with the children, only with dogs, with pets. Yes, sounds ridiculous, but it's true. And I also have a great number of questions I wanted to ask our then government. Why so? And what happened in my family? I have a young business which was just about to start to begin. to develop. My husband was busy working. He was just closed himself in his room and he was working. And I had a 3-year-old child. So let's just guess who was busy working with my child, taking care of my kid. Take 3 intelligent guesses. The majority of women aged 30 to 35, the ones that launched their businesses, they found themselves in a very similar situation. What kind of a pitch for a startup? I was mindful of necessity to get my child fed, changed, etc. And unfortunately, this problem still lingers when we limit ourselves in this way. Well, my husband's working, all right. I will tolerate that. I'll put up with that because I need to feed everyone. I need to order the food. And in this ambiguous, really latent situation when we didn't know what would happen next day, all of these new businesses, I, as a female, I was sidelined. I think this was one of the things that affected women. I would like to support what Snezhana has just said. Koshvitz, the sociologist, spoke about this phenomenon of the second shift. We, women, work in the first shift at home. We have some of our own businesses and children and a husband. So during the coronavirus crisis, you have to blend all of these activities, and definitely you have to overwork. You have to work during 2 shifts. And being able to delegate some of these chores is not a very convenient thing to do because there are no nannies. My kids are also grown up, and we were also confronted with the stressful situations. They had to study remotely while their teachers were not prepared for online learning because they sometimes couldn't turn on Zoom platforms. There were a lot of technical issues, and the quality of education unfortunately declined. And my children who had to enter academia this year, unfortunately their graduation exams were scores of the graduation exams were low. This was a problem. In the United States, it's also interesting, among more than 1 million people that took resignation last year, 900,000 were women and 300,000 were men. So these were the people that resigned because of the mode of work changing, and they couldn't cope with the second shift. People simply burned out. And in terms of ratio, this was 5-1. So we understand how much was this load, the load per every woman and the load per every man. Accordingly, we have to understand that the situation unfortunately affected women much worse, and secondly, go to those that can provide us with help, maybe our elderly people, grannies, granddads, or just our men. So I think this also resulted in a situation that women unfortunately had to go into their social family life and had to combine work with family things.
This needs to be checked, but maybe the percentage of the presence of female founders in online startups that makes business online is lower than a man. So it's not a fact. This is just a suggestion. So maybe female founders are more presentable in other industries. So maybe.
Or less visible.
You know what? Actually, it's not the case for us. Currently, we are having our Polish fund, and regardless of the COVID or not COVID situation, we are having only 2 teams, which are founded by male only. The rest, each of them is having a female co-founder and also a female CEO. And I'm very proudly saying about that because also our fund is very diverse. I'm having a managing partners, male and female, so I really love this situation and the outcome. And of course, I think there might be the reason, well, with like not enough of time, not enough of wish, but also I think it's a matter of us finding the right people. It's a matter of us motivating the right women to actually go over there and start it. And the same as I've been motivated once to go to the venture capital industry and actually push it, I'm like going around, like seeing brilliant women over here and just saying, hey, maybe that's a time to raise your seed and just like go forward and do that. So I'm not very sure what was the reason behind, and I probably will never be able to understand it. But if you're up for that, just go for it.
Well, we're trying to keep, like, in our portfolio, we're trying to keep at least 50-50. It's not that we always can do this, but at least we're trying. And the thing is that we've noticed several things when we were running, for example, Women in Tech program. We started scouting and we've seen a lot of like brilliant, amazing teams over there. And it was 2018, 19, basically before COVID, meaning that we could have some sort of like offline acceleration as well. And after the boot camp, we pre-selected like 12 or 15 teams. I don't remember how many of them were. And then we started offering them the term sheets. And then the team started declining the term sheets. And we were like, why? What's happening? I mean, you wanted to be in this acceleration program. Here is the program. Here is the term sheet. And apparently, most of the teams said, like, we can't relocate to Vilnius for like 4 months because we have families, right? Kids, all the stuff, and we are just not able to be here, to be present. So we changed, like, we figured that it's actually a problem, and probably that's why, like, when you're looking at the acceleration programs, you would see like probably 10% of the female founders and all the other founders are male. So we changed the program, and we introduced this hybrid program where 1 week in 2 months they have to be there present, and all the other time they had to be online. And it saved us a lot during COVID, by the way, because we already knew how to do the online acceleration. But I do understand, like, the reasons behind that you thought about. It's basically really, really similar to what I saw. And one more thing, which was like pretty much interesting for me, like, I mean, about the female investors. So we were running this business angel school programs, and there was like probably 5% to 10% of the female investors in the business schools, and all the other investors are guys, like, obviously. And we were like, okay, probably that's how it works. I mean, that's how it works out there. There are not too many like female investors. And at some points, we just decided, like, probably we should launch like Women Investing in Tech. And we did it. And in our first edition, we had a group of 40 investors studying there, given the fact that the normal group is from 10 to 15 people, not more. So they all just applied, and we were like, why? What's happening? And apparently they said that they don't feel comfortable like being like as a part of, mixed company where men are actually like leading the deals, doing the stuff they want to do. Like, they want their own community, they want their own group. And they started investing, like, after they graduated from the school, they started investing quicker than men. And also they started leading the deals. So,
Oh my goodness, congratulations on this one. Like, literally, I think it's applauding wise. Like, incredible job.
thank you. So, yeah, so I mean, I still can't find the reason. I mean, I still can't understand the reasons, like, why is it happening like this? But
Sandra, there is a bro culture also when there is an underrepresented quantity of women in the group. The men prefer to refer to men, and the man answers with a stronger voice, and they interrupt women more often. This is the statistics, and therefore the voice of a woman is weaker. Mostly, and therefore women prefer to form their groups, and we formed Women in Tech community, where we gathered more than 4,000 women helping each other, and ambassadors of the community being more mature and having the companies and leading the companies for many years. We understand how to work in the men's world, in the men's culture, and how to support young women entrepreneurs to be more confident. And I wanted also to ask whether women have felt under-evaluated in their life. So did you feel that you're weaker to some extent when you're negotiating with men, for instance? Yes. So we want women to be more confident, and therefore we support
I don't.
women in tech.
Yeah, I'm sorry, because I think this is a part of the boldness. This is something what I see constantly in Ukraine. I was starting my career here, and when I arrived as a sales manager, first time opening Ukraine for the Polish company, I've faced a lot of sexism, sexual harassment, a lot of such things where, like, right now when I was telling it to the guys and I said that I was still, shutting myself down, going back to the office and closing the deals regardless, I think it actually made me stronger. And right now when I'm like sitting at the negotiations and I'm speaking with it doesn't really matter whether that's the investor in the fund or that's a startup, I don't feel myself weaker, and I will never say that. Like,
the question of maturity.
Yeah,
What I'm
it
saying
just
that we're helping with tech young women who want to enter the business, who want to enter IT, and they really refer to us to mentoring sessions, and we help them. This is the reality that I'm talking
really.
about.
So,
Yes.
guys, I really want to help you to actually join the community. I think this is something what Ukraine actually needed, and I did it now that you're doing
Yes,
such a
we
great
work
job.
for the third year, and we opened representatives in the UK, in Berlin last week, so we're growing very rapidly.
That's incredible. And
Yeah.
you were saying you're not feeling a weak neither. Go forward.
Well, I was crazy enough to start my first business 20 years ago when I was like 19, 20. So, and it was an advertising agency that later turned into the printing house. And it was like Eastern Europe where all this like stuff is happening. I mean, like she is a 20-year-old and she's running a business. Okay, who is behind her? Where is this big guy? And blah, blah, blah. And okay, I don't want to talk to you. Bring me the real manager and like all of this stuff. I mean, like all over. So at some points, I never actually felt weaker or something because like if you're crazy enough to start like doing this crazy business at 19 or 20, you're not thinking about being in a weak position or being in a strong position. You just have to kind of survive and earn money, and that's the story. But after and at some point, I was looking like at all the other like when someone invited me to talk at the like Women in Tech conference or something, I was like, why do we need like special treatments? Because I'm fine, and everything else should be fine as well. That's what I thought. Then I talked to some female founders. I figured that I'm pretty much like it, that I'm fine. And it's just kind of, I'm like this, other founders are not like this, they're different. It doesn't mean that they're better or worse or something, they're just different. And at this point, we kind of started supporting female founders, and there was a lot of them like coming back to us and saying, thank you for this. So yeah, I mean, I figure that's I'm like this. Someone else is different, right?
Sure.
Okay, I'll switch to English because I'm the last one who are not talking
That's how
English.
majority works, by the way, right?
Yeah, sure, I know. I'd like to add to this that for about 20 years, I worked in a male environment. It's finance, banking, investment. It's men's club. And 10 years ago, it was, and 15 years ago, it was like crazy men's club. The women in this club was like on the second or third row. They even sometimes doesn't have a seat on the table. So we were like, okay, you need to be cool and quiet and do your job. That's it. And yes, sexual harassment, these jokes, and so on and so forth.
Oh my, like, don't even start.
Yeah. So, of course, it makes me stronger. And from about 25-year-old, I was like, I'm coming like a man. I'm coming to the room like a man. So it was just like that. You have no choice. You survive and you prevail by doing your job better than the man in the room. So that's it. There's nothing else you have.
Also worked in automotive, and after that in telco industry. Telco industry is about men only. And when I was the head of the territory with 60% of Ukraine, and there were 5 of us heading the corporate sales, and the rest were for men with 10% of the territory each. So you have to be stronger. You have to perform 60% more than for men do. And you have to be better to survive in this society because you have a family, kids, and you want to be the leader. And you are becoming stronger. And this is not that all women and even young women can do. Therefore, we support them.
Yeah, that's by the way interesting because we always have to overperform and things like this
Yes.
and multitask if it concerns like kids and family and the stuff. And actually, the studies show that the startups that have female co-founders or founders bring 23% more in return on investment than an average startup, and then they're getting to be unicorn quicker than a startup of like where they have all male teams. So it pays off. I mean,
yes, and diversity also leads to the fact that the teams which support diversity, inclusivity, and sustainability, they perform 30% more. They are more creative and they're more flexible and they are reacting to changes faster than the only men cultures and teams. We should also pay attention to this, and when we're forming the management team, we should understand that when we put a woman to a leading management role, she will bring more women to the company.
That's true, by the way.
Yes. Okay. As for me, most issues that I were faced as a woman co-founder, it was in Ukraine because when I visited, so when I was outside Ukraine, I didn't mention nothing. Like this, but in Ukraine, in the industry that we are working in AgTech, this is man world. But the trend is that from the year to year, women in AgTech is more welcome, and also a lot of opportunities to just to show that I'm on the right. And so the biggest struggle was in my hand and mindset to understand and to make believe that I'm able, and so nothing wrong, everything's going on as expected.
I'm speaking a lot, so I will give the word back to you.
But okay, so basically, female founders are overperforming. They are capable. They can do things. However, there is still this problem of funding, and sometimes the problem of funding is actually bias of like all male VCs. Literally, when we had like Women in Tech Demo Day in 2019 or something, there was like so 2 rows of the investors, 95% male for sure, sitting there waiting for the teams to pitch. And I'm giving this speech and I'm talking to the investors and I'm talking about the biases. And they're kind of, very skeptical about the biases. So I said like, okay, you close your eyes now and you imagine the founder of your dream. The founder you would like totally invest in just right now. What is like, who is this person? What are the personal qualities and all the stuff? So they're thinking about this super founder. And then I say like, and now you open your eyes. And now those who pictured a woman, raise your hands. And we have 0 hands. Because everyone pictured the man for sure, like as an ideal founder and everything. And I said like, okay, so you are still going to deny that there is some bias, right? That there is no bias at all. So yeah, I mean, what do we do? Like, how do we change this trend? Because sometimes, really often, female founders are not getting funding. I mean, it's officially it's much harder for those teams to get the money, especially all female teams. Even in our portfolio, when the teams were raising the follow-up rounds like Series Seed and late seed, we see that for the all-female teams, it takes at least like twice as long to raise the funding as for like mixed teams, all-male teams. What can we do to this? I mean, how can we change it?
First is women programs. So, as you said, that in Baltic Sandbox, we're having this Women Investing in Tech program, and according to statistics, the program that I participated in resulted in 3 investments within 4 months. And these women investors, they invested in diverse teams. So this is how we change the statistics and how we move forward. Also, as Kara said, that last year we participated in Women Leading in Tech program, and there were 120 teams and projects which were founded by women and which were founded by diverse teams. And 70 were present offline, and the rest were present online due to the second shift, as we said, that some women, they have kids and they need more flexible conditions, so they can't go for long offline programs. So the organizers have to take this into account. Also, I would like to address the grant providers. So they should provide more programs supporting women starting from school, because when we finished the school, we said that by families, by our surrounding, by our school teachers, go and acquire the women's job. So become an economist, legal person, as Snezhana said, and all the rest, to be philologist, etc. But we should support more women to go to tech specialties. And now what we see as a reality that only 3% of women are going to acquire tech specialties, which is really awful. And what else is to support women in the career within the company? So what we can do, we can organize women supporting programs within the company, I mean by mentorship. So, as Kati said, that I also participate as a mentor in STEM is FEM. We support women students who want to start their own projects. So they start their own projects. We help them to accelerate these projects, and we help them to acquire fundings at the end. So this is how we help. And I want more organizations to help women founders to be stronger, to be more efficient, and to get fundings, and to not to have such a long fundraising as you said, twice as long as the men's one.
I'll jump in over here. So first of all, I think women are already enough for whatever they're trying to achieve, whether that's $500,000 for your start, whether that's another Series B, it doesn't really matter. They are ready. They're good enough. They are smart enough. They're beautiful enough. Everything is over there to do whatever they dream and acquire. Anyway, I think that one thing which we can do for women is to actually invest into them. This is what we do in our investment fund. We execute our strategy and we help by investing, which is very fun. Another thing is that, of course, I mean, it is great that there are special additional programs which we were referring to, which are given an additional ambition, additional support, additional feeling of security, which we are looking for as women a lot. So yes, absolutely, we shall run it and make it real. But there is one thing which I want to mention right now. So it doesn't really matter whether you're a founder, a man or a woman. If you're trying to fundraise and you're trying to find a fund which is going to be honest with you, trustworthy, respectful, supporting a long-term relationships, one of the first things you can do is actually look if they are doing it within their own team. So if they're saying to you, it's like, hey guys, we are so open for the diversity, we're trying to invest in women, and then you see no female partner in the room, there is something wrong. Something as easy as that, as basic, is actually a good sign of whether people are going to execute their strategy in real life or they're not. So yeah, let's push it other way around too, startups. If you don't see women in the managing board, remind it, feel humble, be bold, and move it forward.
Okay, as for Ukraine, I believe that we need to start from the school to educate young girls to pitch their ideas, to represent yourself, because this is a basic thing that everyone in the developed world have. In United States, young kids make presentations, why you need to buy me a cat. So this is great. So I think that in Ukraine, it would be great if someone will do something with that, some initiative maybe for young girls, how to pitch, how to represent that I'm so cool, that I'm enough to build a business.
Okay, I think that this is a challenge from the two sides. Preparing to this panel discussion, I was reviewed Lift 99 Co, made a database of Ukrainian startups, and I made analyzes the percentage of female founders. It's 18%. 18%.
Which is wow. I mean, it's huge comparing to some other countries.
Yes. And on the other side, yes, I believe that Ukraine needs, and not only, but also Ukraine needs a lot of educational programs that just will set mindset of the women and girls to understand that they can do it. And one interesting thing, several months ago, I noticed that the Crunchbase added a special point to investment profile, the percentage of diversity investment. So I think this is an interesting trend, and also will help, to understand is this fund or institution really diversity and women oriented.
That's, by the way, talking about teams with female founders and diverse teams and everything. One of the biggest European funds, they have 1.7 billion under management based in Sweden. They are investing between, I'd say, late seed series B, something like this, from 2 million up to 100 million per startup. At some points, they said okay, starting this year, we are not investing in not diverse teams anymore. Meaning there should be either a female founder or a woman on board. There should be people from different countries, different nationalities, different ages and everything. Because diverse teams are first of all, they're more sustainable and they can actually survive. I was recently talking to one friend of mine, the guy from the venture fund, and we were discussing the conflicts in the team. So he was asking how we're dealing with founders, if they have some founders conflict and the stuff. I can, from our own statistics, I can tell you one thing, that's teams where they have a female founder are less prone to these conflicts in the teams that can kill the startup at the end of the day, comparing to the teams with all male founders. Because recently we had a couple of teams where they had some sort of really bad conflict inside. And because there are three guys with these big balls and they're sitting and literally, they don't want to hear anyone because they're so cool. When the team is different, when there is a female founder in the team, there's a person who is actually a peacemaker that will put all the team together and everything, because this person is more about doing business and rather than showing off and telling to others I'm so cool. So I can do it. Probably we should be kind of rolling it up, as far as I understand, in 10 minutes or something. So I have my very last question. What would be the advice that you would like to give to the female founder, future female founder, the person who is building the career or something, to yourself 10 years ago at the end of the day?
First of all, do what you love. Find your passion and pursue it. I believe that this one is it will be total success if you love what you do.
I would like to add that I want to wish to myself and to young female founders to be more confident and to support each other, and also to provide help to women who want to start something new, some new projects. And I think that women should help women, first of all. And the second thing is for men to understand that to hire a woman for a leadership role, or to become a partner with a woman inside a startup will give you more advantages compared to having men only in the group of founders. And because your company and your startup will be more sustainable, more flexible, it will, as Sandra said, survive with the high rates and have a higher return on investments, which is the most important and pleasant part of all this stuff. And why we started these programs, not only for social purposes, but also for economic purposes, because investors think figures, and therefore we should understand and not under-evaluate women founders into the startups, because it will bring you more money.
Okay, so I wish myself and every woman to keep in mind that I can, I dare, and I have to do very specific things just to go forward, move forward, and so encourage other women, and it helps me a lot to move faster, because one little fact globally, female founders attract about 5 billions of investment from all gazillions of dollars of investment, and I believe that it should be changed and can be changed.
You know, I will steal a word, like, first of all, and thank for the small group of men who is joining us today. Thank you very much for your support and presence.
I think they just mixed up the panel.
Yeah, just a little bit.
Come in for some fintech.
You know, I'm really liking that, because following the topic, 10 years ago, that would have been only the beginning of my journey, and there was a brilliant feeling of nothing what I had, and of course there was nothing to lose. And when I was starting, there was no female communities where you could reach out, so I was reaching out also to men. Don't be afraid to ask men for support, men for help, as well as women, and we are all going to make sure that we are doing our best to make it happen. Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, it just looked as if you wanted to add something. Okay, cool. Yeah, first of all, I would like to thank my amazing panelists for being with us today. I would like to thank the audience and all the men that came to this panel. And probably something from myself. I wish I had started supporting female founders earlier. I mean, I wish I wasn't that kind of 10 years ago, when I was thinking about myself as very, very strong girl, and why can't they be like I am, because I'm kind of stuff. I wish it wasn't like this. I wish, when I was 30, I was actually thinking, okay, so if I support and encourage and empower the community around me, the community will actually grow, the ecosystem of the female founders will grow, it will kind of pay back, and at the end of the day, if I started earlier, the ecosystem probably would have been bigger.
This is a good point, because we spend much time on being more men than men are, and instead of that, we could form communities earlier, supporting women. This is the thing that we should have done earlier.
I wish you would have done it earlier, ladies.
Yeah, so basically, I hope when we leave the stage, people who are here in the audience will already think about some communities to form, and in a couple of hours, in a couple of hours, we'll have more communities and more female supporters. Okay, thanks everyone for being with us today. I don't see the signs that you're showing me, just in case. And yeah, if there are any questions from the audience, we still have 5 minutes as far as I understand.
Здравствуйте, меня зовут Ольга Катюнина.
Hello, my name is Olga Aksyonenko. I'm also a CEO of my own company. And honestly, this is my second experience in setting up a company. And I wanted to clarify one point. Everyone keeps telling me it's a good idea if a woman is included in the composition of a company, and nobody says who the rest of the people are, who the co-founders are. In fact, this is one of the key issues to raise and to nurture a good business, because one individual, whether it be a woman or a man, have a difficulty doing it. And if there are some people to share it with, it's always great. And if you can find something to share with, that's wonderful. If that's a family, that's cool. But it's difficult to find someone to share it. I would like to see the percentage of women who set up their own businesses together with their families or away from their families, separately from them.
So in states in general, the probability that people are going to divorce, right, is around 64%, and the probability that the people who are married is like around 48%, and the fact that the founders are going to split is 64%. And that was a data based on the fact that majority of the investments were done in men. Right now, when the mixed couples, including the married couples, are like working together, the risk is dropping down by around 13%, not by the fact that the founders are going to split, but in general, the risk is dropping down in case you're investing in the marriages. And this is a very interesting fact. We personally do not have anybody who is married in our portfolio. Maybe that's
we have two companies, but we have two companies.
Really? Yeah. Go forward with that.
No, I mean, well, I always tell to all the founders that, okay, you can marry the wrong guy or a girl or something, but you can't have a wrong investor. So, marriage is overrated comparing to the investment, because if you are a lucky one, you're going to be together with your venture fund for the next 10 years. Mm-hmm. I mean, you can't divorce your spouse, you can't divorce your investor. It's just impossible. So.
It will add additional questions to investors on how people will act when they're divorcing. So they need to have contracts signed saying what will happen with a startup after they divorce. And if in case, yes, they will continue working together and accelerating the startup, they will continue raising money from investors. What will happen when they divorce?
Shareholders agreement is always
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I wanted to say. Like, everything is either in the law of divorce or shareholders agreement. Like, that's done.
Yeah. By the way, and one more interesting fact. Again, according to our internal statistic, early stage startups that have a shareholders agreement in place at the very early stage are mixed teams. Never all male teams, because all male teams decide like, we are buddies, we can decide it, like we can solve this problem. And mixed teams, they always have some sort of a shareholders agreement in place.
We actually have some female who actually managed to make the whole company without the shareholder agreement. And then, our lawyers were like, hey, like, there is new round. It's like, where is your shareholder agreement? And then was like, wait, there was supposed to be one. But like, they're a great match. I'm just love watching them, just even talking to each other. So there was no questions asked.
And just some personal experience, thank you for the question. In our startup, we have a mix, because my co-founder is a male, he encouraged me to start our business, our startup. And yes, we discussed about the percentages of the companies from the start. So I am in this statistic also. So very important to have the necessary and the right mate or partner. So I totally agree with that.
I'm sorry, are you right now married to your co-founder? Just for the statistics? Oh, okay, I see. Looks awesome though.
Also, we have our son as a co-founder. Fortunately, he is old enough for now. So yes, we completely have a family company. But really, my first experience in business was not so success, to be honest. And as I can see for now, it was because I was alone at that time. Children were small, and our husband was abroad. So I started alone, and it was too difficult. And that's why I think it's very important to have somebody, some place, maybe some club, maybe some ecosystem, to speak with people, to find these co-founders, to find people who can maybe be responsible for financial part, for enterprise part, or for marketing part. You should share this responsibility with somebody. In this case, it will be more successful.
Well, yeah, actually, like solo founders, they don't survive normally. So.
Yeah, and there is Antler Academy in Berlin, Stockholm, and the other parts where you can go and find a co-founder. So you shall not check it out because yours all sad. But in case anybody else is going to check it out, like go there.
Talking about the supports and support from the family, supports is really important. I mean, even if your spouse is not involved in the businesses you are doing, like if your family is not supporting you, you can't do anything. You can't move further because, like, I mean, my husband, he's not official co-founder of Baltic Sandbox, but he's always joking that he's married to this freaking Baltic Sandbox, and he's like. He's actually, supporting us a lot in with his expertise, mentoring startups, like helping us to scout, helping us with like a lot of stuff. And I mean, that's how it should be in any business, and that's how it should be, I think, with any gender, regardless if if a founder is a man or a woman, because traditionally in traditional like family models and role models, there was this man who was working, and there was this woman who was kind of supporting this man like all over, like helping with kids, helping raising kids basically, like cooking food, doing dishes, whatever, like everything, and giving a lot of moral support. And this is a pretty much normal situation for the society. But when it's vice versa, everyone is always so surprised, like, wow, your spouse is so supportive of what you're doing.
Also, like, I don't have a boyfriend, I don't have a husband, and it's not like I don't want to have one, I just like kind of don't really care, and I'm feeling sometimes pressured by the fact, like, yeah, there is a man, and man has to support me. Like, if the man has to support me, I go to my mentor. And men are supportive as well if you were like asking for it, for the mentorship, for advice, for guidance. I've been mentored mostly by men, and I think that's partially why I'm so glad that your ladies are over here. This is actually my first like women in tech panel, so I'm amazed. Thank you. So
I can say I'm mentoring men in IT outsourcing companies founders, so it can be vice versa also.
I agree. And looking at you, I'm more than sure that you're doing it very, very good with like very strong approach. So keep it up.
Yeah. So thanks everyone. We are wrapping up, and thanks for being with us today.